Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
Please, my darlings, have a seat and prepare for a story or two. But leave the overstuffed chair by the fire for Airman Case. He's my Patreon supporter. I am so sorry, my darlings, that my videos have been shorter recently. You see, I just finished my first audiobook. It's a short one, but it was a learning curve and took up a lot of my time. To make up for it today, I will have the dear Dr. Creepen take up some more time for your listening pleasure. If you've heard his story before, please be polite and don't let him know. Behind the Mask by Gelfwyn. Alluring. He watched as she moved below. He often came to the choir loft before he was called down the stairs by the chimes of midnight. Tonight his thoughts were angry and dark. She smiled at these lesser creatures. She moved among them. She touched them. She loved them. She owed him everything, did she not? Was he not the reason the doors opened and these beings came crawling in? Oh, that first time he had been fleeing capture. He had thought himself out of luck. Only a crumbling stone church, silly crosses holding the stones together, long abandoned, blocked his path. It would offer nothing, he thought. No, he had been very lucky. A door opened beneath his hands, and he stumbled into the silent void. Bewitching, complicated, deadly, ethereal. He had laughed. He had howled to the rafters. He knew the moment he was enveloped in the black, he was beyond his pursuers. A candle had been lit. A candle sitting on an altar, casting a circle of light onto nothing. It was a stage now. It was then, as well he realized far later. He had frozen and stayed as far from the edge of the light. As much as he could, he searched the place for who had lit the candle. There was no shuffling of nervous feet, no rustle of cloth, no nervous breath. All he could find was a statue, white marble. The hair was long and straight. He swore he could run his hands through it. The statue was unearthly perfection. He even caught the hint of eyelashes. Figment. Guardian. Heartless. Intense. Then the eyes opened, and he saw eternity. The needless reach of space, with all the stars sparkling there, all the secrets and knowledge of the world veiled and kept safe away from the infantile mortals. Those eyes slowly closed and opened again, polished jet in a setting of silver. The eyes watched him with no expression he could perceive. She was so pale, he mistook her for an albino, save the eyes. Truth was, sun had not caressed her skin in centuries. Not that he would have believed that when he first saw her. Even now, with the artificial sunlight he had arranged recently, she was far paler than the creatures that came in seeking her. Joyful. Kept. Lost. mythical. After he broke the lock, they came tumbling in one after another. No order to place or even time. They came. They found her. She ordered the place to cradle them in safety. To cradle him as well, he grudgingly admitted. The building, at least the inside, formed to her whim and will. For him a chamber decked in comfort that opened onto the former choir loft. For them, he'd never been through that door behind the now bar area. Yet he knew each had a room that they were content in. She retreated down a step of stairs no one ever so much as placed a foot upon. Naive, ordained, perfect, queen. They obeyed her with no question. At least he was not so mindless. She owed him. Was he not the one that went back out into the ever-changing world and did what she asked? He frowned. That was not how it was. He gifted her with her requests. He gave in to her whims because it amused him to do so. She simply wanted to understand something of how life was beyond her prison walls. He was free to come and go. Even her. Gathered were prisoners of the place now. Restless, solitary, timorous, unnerving. Tonight, the church, or club as he knew it would be referred to, was large. Far larger than the building he remembered. The stage was well defined. The bar was busy with preparations. The kitchen was back, sending scents he barely recognized up to him. They would be bringing in outsiders tonight. From where? What would be the accent, or for that matter, language? This was a new development, one that unsettled him to have strangers flooding into the building, then almost always vanish back, having spent a single night partying, never knowing they had walked beside her. Instruments were being set up and various odd bits of decoration. A band had been invited to play. It rather unnerved him a bit that they were turning the stage into something that resembled a parlor, more as the creatures poured into the club. They were costumed in outfits that ranged from suitable for his home to outlandishly weird. Exactly why would one have gears upon one's top hat? And what was it with ladies mixing with the harlots? Was this gathering even suitable for a lady? He huffed and picked at imagined lint on his cuff. He would not be making an appearance tonight, he decided. Vivid, wistful, xenophilia, youthful. She had watched his retreat with amusement. Still the band was ready. The guests were ready. She was ready. The gathering would commence. This night was not so much for her, but for her precious ones. These gathered souls that came at her call. They needed amusement and interaction, more so as they would soon be released back into the world. They had to remember how to act there. As for him, the first chime of the clock, and there was a click of his cane hitting the topmost step. He would always play his part. After all, he was the zealot. So quoth this raven. And my apologies to Gelfwyn for taking so long to find this. As I said, it is been a busy time lately, and hopefully things will be back to normal. Anyway, I turn your attention to the good doctor.
Terror is coming home to find that everything you own has been replaced with an exact copy. Renowned horror novel writer Stephen King is quoted as saying, "Perceiving threats through natural intuition helped our ancestors to stay alive. Most of the time we can quickly guess if something is a threat to us or not, such as a falling boulder or having a gun pointed at us. There is that space between what we think is a threat and what is not one. This is vagueness or ambiguity. A dictionary definition for ambiguity is the quality of being open to more than one interpretation. Inexactness. Our brains can't exactly guess if something is a threat by looking at it, like a creepy mask or a clown. There is nothing wrong with a mask or a clown. There's just something a little off about those two things. It's just unnatural. Let's say that you walk down the stairs to get yourself a glass of water in the middle of the night, after everyone else has gone to bed. It's so dark in your house that you need to have a hand against the wall just to get downstairs. You start to hear little noises that you normally would have ignored because you've heard them so many times. All of a sudden, you hear and feel breathing on the back of your neck when you thought you were alone, and turn around to see nothing there. Well, something happened to me that might never be explained. This experience wasn't some kind of lucid dream or a hallucination. It was real. I was in shock, and it took a little while for my mind to reason with itself and accept the alien situation that I was in. How else would I just wake up one night with a tattoo of the number 3 on my upper thigh in a place that I've never been to before? A week ago from tonight, I woke up to find myself strapped to a chair with a black blindfold over my whole face. I thought I was hearing voices that sounded exactly like my own. Next, some unknown force took off the blindfold, and I found myself in a dark room where I could barely see a single thing. A light then abruptly appeared and made a humming noise, and I saw that I was in a small room surrounded by 6 other people, all of whom looked exactly like me. We were all silent. We had no idea what we could say that would be relevant to what we were seeing. "Hello," a muffled voice said over an echoing speaker. "You are all probably in shock at this moment, and have nothing to say that would put any of you at ease. You may notice the similarities between yourselves." "Where the fuck are we?" we all said in unison, and then sharply went quiet because we were so shocked to have had the identical reaction. Jinx. "It's all right. Your reaction is completely normal. Who we are is unimportant. It's the question of who all of you are is what you should direct your attention towards. Are all of you you? Or are all of you individuals, just like someone you may make awkward eye contact with on the street?" The mysterious man was not making any of us feel better. After all, we'd all woken up strapped to chairs in a dark room and found 6 other people in the same situation that all looked and talked exactly like me. And I had nothing to worry about? That's madness. Like I said before, anything that I say by this point will not aid in calming any of you down, so it would be useless to even attempt to do so. There is just one explanation I will give you before we all leave. There are 7 of you joining us here today. All of you appear identical, down to that little freckle you have on the back of your left hand. I looked over to my left hand and saw that there was that little freckle right underneath my pointer finger. The truth is that almost all of you are copies. There is just one exception. By this point, I was, for some weird reason, actually starting to calm down. I must have been the real me. Isn't it obvious? You are all, by this point, assuming that you are the real you. Am I right? This is where you are wrong. How could I be wrong? I must be the actual Joel. I know that to be a fact. I have all of my memories, don't I? What were the rest of these people thinking? We took the original one of you and copied your consciousness into the 6 other bodies that we created. And then we strapped you all to one of these chairs. You will all be set free, and you will not be harmed by us ever again. But there is one catch. One of you will be able to go back and live your life the way it was before, and all of the others will need to start over. The ones of you who aren't so lucky to end up back in the place where they fell asleep will probably start planning to go to where you live now and replace yourself with a person who is living the life that you believe to be your own. We will make sure that you are not able to harm the one of you who gets to go back to the way things were. This can't be happening, I remember saying to myself. There was a 1 in 7 chance that things would go back to the way things were. What felt like only a few breaths and blinks ago. After the man stopped talking, everything faded to black, and I woke up in a bed that was not my own, across from a huge glass wall outlooking snowy mountains. My chest dropped into my stomach. I wasn't at my house. My girlfriend wasn't right next to me. And instead of a German Shepherd at the foot of my bed, there was a laptop that looked like my own with a piece of paper on top. This is what the paper said. Dear number 3, welcome to the Dolomites in Italy. This beautiful mountain range is elevated at 10,968 feet above sea level. And it is where you have found yourself living. You will find a safe in the closet that will contain all of your financial papers, passports, a birth certificate, and other things of that nature. You do not need to worry about working. We have provided you with enough wealth to live comfortably for the remainder of your years, and there will not be a language barrier when communicating with the locals. You will not be able to do a reverse search of your face online, but you can follow the original Joel online and will be able to peer into his life. But it will not be possible for you to contact him in any way. Now, go out there and go on some adventures. Find a special friend and treat yourself every now and then. You are still young, and you have many more years in front of you. I felt so stuck. I haven't left my 3-bedroom house yet. Groceries were delivered yesterday, so I've been fine. I'm just sitting in front of this window looking at an old photo album. It has all the photos, from my first birthday all the way up to my last few days of my old life. But there was one slide missing in the photo album. I guess it was symbolic of something. Then I went into Facebook to find Joel. And at the top of his wall he had 120 likes. Wow, I said to myself. I'd never gotten that many likes before. The photo was of Joel on one knee proposing to our girlfriend of 7 years. Maybe that was supposed to be the last picture in the photo album. But I will only be able to see how one of the 7 Joels lives the rest of their life through a Facebook and an Instagram page. I will never be at my wedding. I will never be able to meet my first child. I will never be able to sit down in a chair in the office of the job that I was working to have. All I can do is start over. Us humans live in a very strange world, which inspires so many questions that even the best of our thinkers don't have explanations for. We seek out answers, launching rockets into the depths of space, never to be seen again. We send boats into the deepest parts of the ocean in order to discover new places. But our brains are just too fragile to handle some horrifying truths.
If you like this, please hit the little button to let me know. If you didn't, hit the little button to let me know. Leave a comment. I'm always glad to talk with you, my darlings. I'm open to suggestions and criticisms, critiques. If you have not subscribed, please do so and ring the little bell so you know when to come up and see me. And I will talk to you next time, my darlings. Farewell.